And here with reaction to my open, the results of the Nevada caucuses and more, former White House press secretary and Fox News contributor Sarah Huckabee Sanders joins me now on this busy night of news. All right, before we get to my open, Sarah, Bernie Sanders won the caucus in Nevada, 54, almost 55%. Is he on his way to grabbing this nomination?
Absolutely. Between Bloomberg's disastrous performance at the debate this week and Bernie winning tonight in Nevada, and not just winning, but a big win, I think he is looking like the presumptive Democrat nominee at this point. He's certainly moving in that direction. And I think Republicans have to be extremely careful. We can take nothing for granted. At this point, the stakes have literally never been higher. If crazy socialist Bernie Sanders is the Democrat nominee, as he is well on track to be, literally the way of life and our very freedom is at stake at the election in November, and Republicans have to come out in full force and make sure that they get Donald Trump reelected.
Well, you know, but before we get to that point, you know, 2 weeks ago, Joe Biden was dead and gone, and he was expected to drop out. And yet, you know, next Saturday in South Carolina, it looks like, you know, he might have a good showing there, and he might be, you know, back in the race again. Do you think there's a chance for resurgence on Biden's part?
Certainly not going to take anything off the table. I think that he looks like he has the ability to still win in South Carolina. But where does he go after that? And can he raise enough money from that point? Is there enough momentum? Right now, all the enthusiasm and money coming into a campaign, not being bought and paid for by a candidate, is behind Bernie Sanders. That seems to be the candidate that has the most excitement and enthusiasm. He's one of the few people that's actually on the air in some of the big states coming up on Super Tuesday, besides Bloomberg, who's got a huge deficit to make up on a number of fronts. I certainly don't count Biden out, but I think Bernie right now is certainly the person to beat.
All right. So if Bernie doesn't get the number, I think it was 1,991 regular delegates, then the super delegates kick in at the Democratic convention. The truth is that the super delegates are essentially the party insiders who prevented him from getting that nomination 4 years ago with Hillary Clinton. Do you think that those super delegates, and by the way, this question was asked at the debate too, you know, will the guy or the woman with the most number of delegates, do we agree that she should be the nominee? And they wouldn't go for it. Of course, Bernie thought he should, thinking he would get it. But in the end, the super delegates is the party establishment, which appears to be anti-Bernie. Are they going to stop him?
I think they're certainly going to try. Let's be real transparent here. We've seen how the Democrats value the will of the voter and the will of the people over the last 3 years as they've attacked and tried to take down Donald Trump because they didn't like that he won in 2016. I don't think that the Democrats are going to like if Bernie wins the delegates but isn't quite there. I think they're going to do everything they can. They all raised their hands and essentially said that they would if he doesn't have enough of the votes. And so we'll see what happens. But I certainly don't think they're going to go down easy and try to give this to him without putting up quite a fight.
OK, now the president has tweeted out a tweet. Looks like crazy Bernie is doing well in the great state of Nevada. Biden and the rest look weak. In no way Mini Mike can restart his campaign. Congratulations, Bernie. Don't let them take it away from you. You know, so the president seems to be congratulating Bernie. It's almost as though he sees a certain alignment there that, you know, that establishment is anti-Bernie as the establishment on the right was anti-Donald Trump.
Absolutely. I think the difference is the president had not just he may have not had the establishment, but he had such a diverse crowd of people behind him and supporting him. He was bringing in people who had not voted in the past. He was bringing in a lot of Democrat voters, and he had built a new coalition. Bernie has a small kind of coalition that I think has a low ceiling. I think it's going to be hard for him to overcome that in a general election, whereas the president has expanded very far beyond his 2016 base, in large part because of the success of his presidency. The economy is booming. Every demographic is doing better under this president, and you're going to see that change the makeup of the voters that come out and support him in November.
Indeed. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, thanks so much for being with us.